She stared at him, her bones shaking in shock. She would never have thought that this would happen to her. She trusted him completely. And even as she looked at him and the stark betrayer in human form, she wondered what she must have done to deserve it. Didn't they say that the enemy you know is better than the angel you do not know? Why did this enemy come with a strong sting of betrayal? Agnes, the daughter of a very wealthy man, against all odds, chose to go for her NYSC. As the only child of wealthy parents, Agnes was very protected. Her parents never wanted her to get hurt because she was all they had. Agnes's dad pleaded with her to let him use his money and influence so that she wouldn't have to go all the way to the NYC camp. But Agnes stubbornly refused. She had heard stories, seen pictures on the internet, and even dreamed of this moment her entire life. She wasn't like the children of other wealthy parents. Agnes wanted to play with sand when she was little. Oh, she wanted to run around without her shoes. She wanted to play with the children of her nannies and housekeepers. Agnes was down to earth. So why would her parents want to deprive her of something that was only once in a lifetime? Agnes eventually went for her NYSC, but she didn't return the same way that she had gone. Guess what? She came back with the most beautiful thing in the universe: love. Agnes met Jude while she was 7, as he was also a corps member. It started off as a friendship, and then love grew between them. By the time Agnes was done with NYSC, she was so in love that she couldn't imagine her life without Jude. Although Jude didn't have money or come from a wealthy family like hers, Jude was loving, caring, and he understood Agnes like the back of his palm. Agnes came home and told her parents about Jude. As supportive parents, they invited Jude over, and in the blink of an eye, Jude won the heart of Agnes's parents. Afterwards, he engaged Agnes. Families and friends were invited to the party. Everyone was happy that Agnes had found love really early and was getting married. Except one person, Lawrence. Lawrence was the son of a family friend. His parents were just as wealthy as Agnes's, and they practically grew up as friends. Right from when they were teenagers, Lawrence had always liked Agnes. Unfortunately, he was too shy to tell her how he truly felt. Also, Lawrence didn't want to ruin the beautiful friendship that he and Agnes had. While Agnes was 7, Lawrence was in medical school abroad, and he told himself that the first thing he would do the moment he got back to Nigeria would be to open up to Agnes about how he truly felt about her. Hopefully, she would feel the same way about him and accept him. And if that wasn't the case, Lawrence hoped that being that they were now mature, it wouldn't affect their friendship. Lawrence had never been with anyone. He hadn't even as much as liked another girl the way he liked Agnes, and a part of him was keeping himself for Agnes. Aww. So imagine how heartbroken he must have felt when he got the news from his parents that Agnes was getting married. Ah, his own Agnes. Lawrence was broken, but he didn't make a fuss about it. Even when Agnes called him to gush about her perfect fiancé, Lawrence listened like a good friend would. Thankfully, they were separated by distance, so Agnes didn't see how hurt he was. Worse, Agnes made Lawrence promise that he wouldn't miss the wedding. Even though Agnes had given her heart to another man, Lawrence still loved her dearly, and he just couldn't disappoint her. So, Lawrence flew all the way to Nigeria to attend Agnes's wedding to Jude, smiling through his pain and broken heart. After the wedding, Agnes's parents immediately hired Jude in the family company, giving him the position that they would have given Agnes. Jude managed to convince Agnes that it was better if he alone worked. That way, she would be able to sit at home and cater for their little family. Jude went on to assure Agnes that she would never have to lack anything. As always, Jude showered Agnes with endearing words and promises, and they eventually came to that agreement. Whatever Agnes decided, her parents accepted. Jude was not only given a job, but he was also given a mansion in the city and a car. Wow! In the blink of an eye, Jude's life and that of his family changed completely. Agnes happily remained at home, looking good and making dinner, so that Jude would never have to come home to an empty house. Their love was beautiful and perfect. Agnes was very happy, and on some days, she would stare at her reflection in the mirror and wonder how she got so lucky to find a perfect man like Jude who loved her completely. If she hadn't stubbornly gone for her NYC, she would have missed out on the greatest gift of life. Lawrence returned from medical school and opened his own hospital with the help of his parents. He was hardworking and dedicated, and instead of dwelling on his heartbreak that he would never recover from, Lawrence chose to focus on his career. However, one thing remained: the pure and innocent friendship between Agnes and Lawrence, and he respected her as the wife of another man. However, 1 year after the wedding, Agnes began to get worried because she wasn't getting pregnant. She had hoped that she would get pregnant almost immediately because she didn't want to wait. But month after month came the same disappointment. It became so worrisome to Agnes that she decided to turn to the only friend that she had ever known and trusted: Lawrence. Make sure to subscribe for more interesting and entertaining stories. It was also easier for Agnes to meet Lawrence because he was a medical doctor. Lawrence ran tests on her and found nothing. He told Agnes that she was well and fit to get pregnant. So, why am I not pregnant yet? Agnes asked Lawrence worriedly. Lawrence asked Agnes if Jude was putting pressure on her, but Agnes said no. Jude hadn't said anything, and he didn't seem like a bothered husband. Lawrence then suggested that Jude also needed to come in for some tests. Procreation mostly happened when two fertile people came together, and sometimes the delay might be the man's fault. However, Agnes told Lawrence that she couldn't just tell Jude to come for a checkup. Agnes went home and continued to play the duty of a loving and caring wife. Jude, on his own part, remained the best husband that Agnes married. Sometimes, she had to catch herself from bragging too much about how perfect her marriage was whenever she was with Lawrence or having brunch with a bunch of her female friends. Agnes became the envy of all eyes, as good men were a rare commodity, and her friends were always saying, "God, when?" Each time she talked about Jude or they saw pictures of them together, Agnes trusted Jude completely. He was the man God himself sent to her from heaven. Their second wedding anniversary party was to die for. It was an intimate party filled with families of Jude and Agnes and their close friends, including Lawrence, and Jude couldn't stop talking about Agnes. His speech almost made every woman, including the grannies, wish that they were married to Jude. Agnes blushed the entire time, but deep down, she was carrying the weight of a deep worry. Everyone saw the smile of a happy and contented wife, but Agnes was being eaten up inside by the fact that they still didn't have a child, not even one pregnancy. Agnes knew that people were curious. She could see the questions in their eyes, but because of the daughter of whom she was, no one dared to ask her why she wasn't pregnant yet, not even Jude's family. Jude described their marriage as perfect and beautiful, but deep inside, Agnes felt that a child to mark their second wedding anniversary would make their marriage perfect. Anyway, during the wedding anniversary party, Jude introduced Agnes to a young woman, slightly younger than Agnes. Her name was Erica. Erica was beautiful, curvy, and had a contagious smile that could blow anyone away. Jude told Agnes that Erica was his cousin, and the reason why she was only meeting Erica for the first time was because Erica had been away on a long trip. Agnes hugged Erica with love and told her that she was welcome to come and visit at any time. Agnes opened the doors of her home to Erica instantly, just the same way she had done to the rest of Jude's family. While Agnes's parents gave Jude a life he would never have dreamed about, Agnes never made his family feel as though they were below her. She loved them all. After the anniversary party and everyone had returned to their homes, Agnes decided to talk to her husband, Jude, about what had been troubling her for 2 years now. Agnes told Jude how unhappy she had been feeling because of their childlessness. "I love children and I've always dreamed of being a mother. I just don't understand why it is taking forever," Agnes lamented. As usual, Jude took Agnes in his arms and spoke to her tenderly. He told Agnes that there was nothing to be worried about. Sometimes, having children took longer than expected for some couples, and maybe they were just one of those couples. Agnes was astonished. She wanted to know why Jude wasn't bothered. Agnes had heard stories about how men had driven their wives insane because they didn't get pregnant. Even a few of her friends had had that turbulence in their marriage, but not Jude. And Jude told Agnes that he didn't marry Agnes because of children. Granted, he also wants children, oh, but he went on to assure Agnes that with or without them, his love for Agnes would never change. Wow. Again, this made Agnes wonder what she must have done to deserve a man like Jude. But unfortunately, no sweet and endearing words or assurances could erase Agnes's worry completely. Being a full-time housewife had become very boring for her. She had everything she needed and never lacked, and sometimes she went out with her friends, but still, Agnes was bored. All her friends worked, and so they weren't free to hang out every single day. During the day, Agnes had the entire mansion to herself, and it had become too big for her. Sometimes her voice even echoed. What Agnes needed was children to keep her occupied and to fill their spacious home. Agnes eventually opened up to Jude and told him that she had been to Lawrence's hospital for a test, and Lawrence had actually suggested that he should also come in for some tests, just to be sure that there wasn't anything wrong with him. Other men would have been upset, but not Jude. As a matter of fact, Jude had never been upset with Agnes since they started dating. Willingly, Jude agreed to go to the hospital with Agnes. "I want you to know that I would do anything to keep a smile on your face," Jude told Agnes at the end of their discussion, making Agnes's heart melt all over again. They went to Lawrence's hospital and ran some tests, and the results were the same. Both of them were fit and fertile. This left Agnes confused. Even as a medical doctor, it left Lawrence confused as well. As they returned to their home, Jude kept telling Agnes not to worry about it. In due time, she would get pregnant and they would have the family that she had always dreamed of. Please like and subscribe for more interesting and educative stories. Agnes and Jude continued life as a perfect couple, their home filled with love, peace, and laughter. Not that Agnes stopped worrying, but Jude's unwavering love and devotion kept her happy most of the time. By their third anniversary, Agnes told Jude that she didn't feel like throwing a party. "I don't want to see the questions they can't ask me in their eyes. I can't stand their looks of worry and judgment," Agnes told Jude. As always, Jude obliged Agnes, anything to make her happy and comfortable. Instead of an anniversary party, Jude took Agnes on a vacation to one of the most beautiful African countries with great places for exploration, tourism, and art. Again, Agnes was happy, but could he completely erase the emptiness she was feeling? Indeed, money couldn't buy happiness all the time, and soon enough, Agnes feared that if she didn't conceive, Jude's love would not be able to keep her happy. There were some nights that Jude worked in the privacy of his study. Agnes never went into the study or bothered him because she knew that he was working hard and building her father's company, which would eventually become their own legacy when the time was right. Agnes trusted Jude so much that she never questioned anything or tried to snoop around. Jude, on his part, had never given Agnes any reason to distrust him. Aside from the desire to have a child, their home was something that many termed too good to be true. Could their love be truly too good to be true? Meanwhile, all this time, Agnes had been teasing Lawrence about getting married. Each time they spoke, Agnes always asked to know about his girlfriend, but Lawrence kept saying he was single. "Are you a reverend father, or do you hope to become one?" Agnes asked her childhood best friend, Lawrence. "I have never seen you with anyone. Are your parents not worried?" Lawrence simply told Agnes that he didn't have the time and mental capacity for a relationship. Agnes even offered to introduce Lawrence to some of her single female friends that she could vouch for, but Lawrence kept turning it down. What Agnes didn't know was that Lawrence was still in love with her, and he just couldn't see himself with someone else. Agnes, who could be very stubborn sometimes, told Lawrence that she would not relent until he was married. "You deserve to experience the kind of love that Jude and I have," she always told Lawrence. One day, Agnes saw her parents off to the airport. They had wanted their driver to take them, but Agnes insisted on driving them. "Even though I love Jude, and I cannot imagine not living with him, I still miss living with you in the same house and spending time with you," Agnes told her parents. Each moment was something to be treasured, and a long drive to the airport just to catch up with her parents, talk and laugh was priceless to Agnes. She bade them farewell, got into the car and began to drive back. Their flight was for the afternoon, so Agnes would certainly make it home in time to make Jude's dinner. They had been married for more than 3 years now, and Agnes had never skipped making his dinner. The only time that Jude missed Agnes's delicious dinner were times he was away on a business trip. Anyway, just when Agnes was close to their home, guess what happened? She got involved in a terrible accident and was rushed to Lawrence's hospital. Lawrence commenced treatment already, while a message was sent to Jude about Agnes's accident. Because Jude was in a meeting, he didn't see the message until later in the evening. But as soon as he did, he hurried to the hospital to see Agnes. The accident was so bad that it affected Agnes's eyes, and that was the first thing that Lawrence talked to Jude about. Jude broke down in tears, broken that his beloved wife had gone blind. But what Lawrence didn't tell Jude was that the blindness was only temporary. Before Agnes would be discharged, she would regain her sight. Lawrence left Jude in his office to attend to another patient, telling him that he could only see Agnes in a few minutes. Jude, not knowing that Lawrence had working cameras in his office, took out his phone and called someone. He couldn't wait. "Hello, my love. I have great news. Our wish has finally come to pass. The universe has heard our prayers. Agnes was involved in an accident and she has gone blind. Finally, we can achieve our plans, get all we can get, and dump her for good. I can't wait, my love. I love you so much." Those were Jude's words to his lover on the phone. He also went on and on about all the plans that they had been cooking up for years now. Jude was later allowed to see Agnes, and even though Lawrence told Jude that he could go home and return the next morning, Jude, in wanting to act as the most caring and devoted husband in the universe, insisted on remaining by Agnes's side. "She's my world, and I cannot just leave her here and go home," Jude insisted. When Lawrence saw that Jude wouldn't change his mind, he had to leave Jude alone and return to his office. And that was when Lawrence listened to Jude's phone conversation. Lawrence didn't need a soothsayer to tell him that Jude was speaking to his lover, but more importantly, that Agnes was in grave danger. All this time, nothing had been as it seemed, and Agnes had been living in fantasy. Jude had maneuvered his way into Agnes's life and made her believe that he was a saint from heaven. Now, Lawrence understood why Agnes never saw a fault in him. Jude had presented himself as flawless. Lawrence's dilemma was now how to break this to Agnes without shattering her completely. Like and subscribe to this channel for more interesting and entertaining stories. After what Lawrence found out about Jude, he never looked at him the same way again. But Lawrence couldn't react on his own. However, in a bid to protect Agnes because he didn't trust Jude anymore, he placed a nurse on Agnes's watch every single second of the day. Days later, Agnes woke up to health. Thankfully, Jude wasn't there the moment she did. He had to hurry home to pick up a few things, and so Lawrence seized the opportunity to tell Agnes what she needed to know. It broke Lawrence's heart when Jude was the first person Agnes asked about the moment she regained her sight, but he also understood that it was because Agnes didn't know that she had been living with a devil in human form. Lawrence told Agnes everything, but Agnes, as expected, didn't believe him. "I can't believe that after all these years of taking you as a friend, you would lie against a man I love." Agnes blew hot. "Are you that jealous of what we have because you don't have it, that you're willing to destroy my marriage?" Agnes asked Lawrence. Even when Lawrence played the tape for Agnes and she heard Jude's voice clearly and even saw him from the camera, she still insisted on living in denial. Agnes confidently said that it wasn't Jude. She even accused Lawrence of setting everything up just to force her into believing him. She could swear on her life that Jude couldn't do that to her. He loved her dearly and had never made her second-guess his feelings for her. There was no way Agnes would allow Lawrence to come between them. When Lawrence saw that he couldn't make Agnes believe him, he decided to try another approach. "Then we should put him to a test," Lawrence said. He told Agnes that Jude had no idea that she could see, so he pleaded with her to continue pretending to be blind. That way, she would see who Jude truly was and what he had been up to. Lawrence urged Agnes to test Jude for some weeks, and if it turned out that he had lied against Jude, he would stay away from Agnes and her family. Lawrence was certain that Jude wouldn't be able to keep up the pretense for long, seeing that Agnes was now in a terrible condition. Everyone knew that hard times always reveal the true character of a person. Agnes eventually agreed. She was discharged and taken home by her darling husband. Agnes watched out for Jude's changes, but he still remained the loving and caring husband that she married. Jude held her hands, guided her around the house as though she was truly blind, and fed her like a baby. How could Lawrence lie against a man like Jude? After 1 week of Jude maintaining the image of a faithful and devoted husband, Agnes decided to tell him the truth and to cut Lawrence off forever. But something happened. On that fateful day, Agnes was in the living room when Jude sneaked in Erica, his cousin, right? At first, Agnes wondered why he was sneaking Erica into their home, seeing that she wouldn't have minded. But the answers were not far away from Agnes. Agnes watched them from her dark shades as Jude took Erica upstairs. Their composure was enough to make Agnes suspicious. Quietly too, she followed them. And then she dropped on their conversation. And that was when Agnes heard everything she needed to hear. Jude married Agnes for money. When he met her during their service year, he had known that she was the daughter of a wealthy man. And being a young man desperate to escape a life of hardship and job hunting, Jude had wormed his way into Agnes's heart, married her, pretending to be a perfect husband, just so that he could continue enjoying the privileges that came with being married to her while having an affair with Erica, the lady he truly loved, and lied to Agnes as his cousin. Also, it was because of the plan all along that Jude had intentionally not gotten Agnes pregnant because he didn't want anything to tie him to Agnes. Agnes was shattered beyond words. But that was nothing compared to Jude and Erica's plan now that she had gone blind. Jude had been working to take loads of Agnes's parents' money, run away with Erica to a country of their choice, and dump her for good. Then he and Erica would live happily ever after. Agnes was deeply hurt, but she had to act fast. She quickly called her parents, who were back from their trip already, Lawrence, and of course the police. When she was sure that they were on their way, Agnes barged into the room, revealed that she could see, and confronted Jude. Agnes expected Jude to be remorseful, but seeing that they had been caught red-handed, Jude and Erica decided to attack Agnes and silence her forever. But they were stopped by the arrival of her parents, Lawrence, and the police. Jude and his lover were arrested and sentenced to jail. While they were there, Agnes divorced Jude and took back everything her parents had given to Jude and his parents, which meant that even when Jude would be released, which was years later, he would have nothing to return to. Her parents ensured that with their money and connection, Jude and Erica would remain in prison for a very long time. Agnes took some months to heal from the betrayal and heartbreak, and by the time she returned to her family, she was ready to start afresh and resume working at her father's company, where she rightfully belonged. Lawrence, for the first time, decided to tell Agnes how he truly felt about her. Agnes eventually fell in love with Lawrence after seeing that he was genuine, and they got married after a year of courtship. Finding true love and happiness, Agnes and Lawrence built a home filled with love, with laughter, and with beautiful children. If you are yet to subscribe, please do for more interesting, entertaining, and engaging stories.